Hi, it's me, Ingrid INFP, and this video is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be talking about four French films from my childhood that I think that every INFP should see. Also people who aren't INFPs, but I think that INFPs are more likely to want to revisit childhood things, the sense of wonder, the sense of imagination, of just innocence is something that I think INFPs are extremely interested in compared to other people. But I wanted to talk about films from my childhood that I think that people should see. I don't know if these movies exist in English, or not all of them. I know that some of them do. And the first is going to be Amelie Poulain, which is an internationally well-known film. It's Amélie from Montmartre, I think is the name in English. Amélie lives in Paris, and she kind of sees the world in a different way than everybody else, which is relatable for me. She sees the little details, she finds the little pleasures in life, and there's a sort of sense of humor that I relate to, and a certain there's also a certain sense of melancholy and a lot of feeling behind what Amelie does and what she thinks, and she's always daydreaming, and her problem is that she needs to get out of her shell because she is too shy to talk to this guy that she really wants to talk to, and so she goes through a whole different, like a whole scenario just to start talking to this guy. She can't talk to him face to face because she is so awkward. And in the end it's her neighbor who pushes her to like live your life, you know, don't just keep daydreaming about things. And I just really love that movie, one of my favorites, I think. And the music is also really beautiful, and Paris is beautiful, and there is a certain sense of nostalgia, because she herself kind of has a childlike spirit, and you know, she lives her little life, and it shows how it's okay to live that kind of little life that I guess that I have, you know. So I really enjoy Amélie, and I think that I enjoy it just as much as an adult as when I was a child. Almost more so, because I know how it is to be a young adult. So I recommend that film. The next one would be Kirikou et la Sorcière, which is Kirikou and the Sorceress. Kirikou is a little boy who lives in a country in Africa. I think it's sub-Saharan Africa, and he is very small, like he's like this tall, and he lives in a tribe in a little village, and everybody's bullying him for being so small, and he feels like he doesn't really fit in this tribe, and somehow he decides that he's going to go and meet the sorceress that has placed a curse on his village, and that is a whole adventure. And the thing is, he's the only guy who can do that adventure because he is so small. So actually that was that was actually a good thing in this case, that he was so small. And in the end they realized that the sorceress was in pain, and he meets an old wise man, and he realizes that he has strength even though he is small, and people sing to him, Kirikou. They go like, Kirikou n'est pas grand, mais il est vaillant. And then they dance with him. And it's just such a beautiful insight into another culture, which as a child growing up in the 90s, early 2000s in France, I wasn't really seeing a lot of culture outside of France and outside of Western countries. So seeing the beauty of the nature, this is a cartoon, it's like an animated movie, but it is made so beautifully. It was censored in the United States because of the nudity, but the nudity is like, that's just how it is. That's just how natural it is in that culture. So that's why it wasn't, they wanted to censor it, but in the end I think that they just left it how it was. But it's beautiful to see the culture, it's beautiful to see the nature, the animals, the customs, and it's such well thought of story, and I really love this as a child, but even as an adult. And it's so sad that it's not like well recognized internationally, because it's such a good movie. And I think that if more people watched this movie, they would have an appreciation for other cultures that I don't think that people in the West have. So, Kirikou et la Sorcière. Next is Le Renard et l'Enfant, which was really close to where like complete opposite. It's very close to where I was living as a child. This one came a little bit later, but I grew up in the French Alps, and this film is filmed in the Jura, which is a little bit north of where I was living, and it's also a beautiful film with nature. And Le Renard et l'Enfant means the fox and the child has red hair like the fox. My best friend also had red hair, so I kind of imagined her in that position. And also my best friend lived in the mountains, so I kept thinking of like my best friend doing these adventures in the mountains. My favorite animal also happened to be the fox. So this film was really tailored for me. But I think what was really beautiful is that it's a story of a child who observes the fox, becomes friendlier with the fox, becomes friends with the fox. Then she tries to make the fox into a pet, but then that does not work out. And so she realizes that the wilderness should stay wild and not be tamed. And I think it's like supposed to be a little bit of another take on The Little Prince by Saint-Exupéry, where in The Little Prince they talk about taming the fox, and it's also a French story, but in this case it's the taming cannot be, because it's more of a friendly interaction from a distance. And so it's a beautiful tale with beautiful landscapes, beautiful wilderness. The colors just pop out, and not much happens in the story. Things are pretty quiet, not much talking happens, but it is so beautiful. And I think that people should see this this movie. Not much talking is going on, so you don't really need to know French. I guess that there are probably versions with subtitles, but the man who created that film also created Le Manchot Empereur, la marche de l'Empereur, which I only saw once actually, so I'm not including this in this list, but it's also about the penguins, and it's also a nature documentary kind of story film. That's the third film, and the fourth film is Les Choristes, which is a French classic. Les Choristes is like the choir singers, I guess it would be called in English. It's kind of like Dead Poets Society, but the French version. Dead Poets Society is set at a similar time period. However, I think that Dead Poets Society is older kids, teenagers, young adults, you know. So high school kids, while Les Choristes is more like middle school kids. Basically, they are in a boarding school, all boys, and they live a really sad life where basically they're just told to shut up and learn their lesson. And then a teacher comes in, and I think that he's a math teacher, but he decides to create a choir together with the boys by secret. And this is the thing that gives them hope and desire to live. And it's such a beautiful story. You realize that these boys all have their own personality, all have the things, their hopes and dreams and things that they're good at and that they're not as good at. And that you can see them blossom through being part of this choir. And I think that I'm going to end it with a song. I've taken up the lyrics here. The song is called Choristes sur l'océan. Caresses sur l'océan, porte l'oiseau si léger, revenant de terres enneigées. Air éphémère de l'hiver, au loin ton écho s'éloigne, châteaux en Espagne, vire au vent tournoie, déploie tes ailes dans l'aube grise du levant, trouve un chemin vers l'arc-en-ciel, se découvrira le printemps. Caresse sur l'océan. So that concludes this video. There are other videos from my childhood, but these are the ones that are the most beautiful, inspiring, thought-provoking, and that I think most adults will have some gain in watching it. So have a great day, everybody. Bye.